Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and in today's video, a massive amount of volatility has returned to the Bitcoin market with a big pump to around $9,850 as of last night. Sadly, though, that wasn't to last, as Bitcoin this morning has corrected to around $9,700. As you can see, Bitcoin just set a new yearly high this morning, but just as I sat down to record today's video, Bitcoin decided, no, actually, we're not going to go to $10,000. Instead, we're going to have a correction. So that's what we're going to be discussing here in today's video, is that correction. Guys, by the end of this video, you ought to be walking away with a better understanding of the current Bitcoin market, the technical analysis surrounding the current Bitcoin market, and what will be happening over the next few days on said Bitcoin market so that you can trade those movements for profit. There's a lot of volatility in the market, which means there's a lot of gains to be made if you know how to make them. Which, by the way, guys, is why the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy is on sale. As you know, the February 2020 coupon is running through tomorrow. You have 48 hours to use that coupon and jump on into the Academy. We've had nearly 40 people join in the last 4 days. If you guys would like to join us and learn everything you need to know about technical analysis so that you can jump into these markets and start profiting in these markets, I highly encourage you checking us out at the link in the description down below, but there will be more on that at the end of the video. But for now, guys, without much further ado, let's go ahead and dive right on into it. As you guys can see, this morning Bitcoin rallied all the way up here to a high on Bitfinex anyway of around $9,859 and change. And it's really funny because right around the time I sat down to record this video, I took a look at the chart about an hour ago before this dump happened. I'm like, this looks good. I feel like we're going into a bull market, but I got a bad feeling about this, and I think some people are going to FOMO it. I was just about to record a video and warn you guys of a correction like this, and then it happened right in front of me, and I don't have any proof of that, but it did happen. And I want to make one thing clear here. Just because Bitcoin had a correction here does not mean that Bitcoin is done. It doesn't mean the rally's over. It doesn't mean any of that. It just means Bitcoin needed a little bit of time to cool off. We rallied very quickly. We fell very quickly. As you can see, we fell very quickly, and now we're actually, at the time of recording this, we're on the minute chart, by the way, is starting to recover quite nicely. I want to see Bitcoin get above this level right now, but that is going to be outdated by the time you see it. So let's zoom out to the hourly. Because out here on the hourly chart, guys, we see probably one of the most interesting candlesticks I've ever seen. Okay, well, it's moving to the upside now, so it changed, but it looked like just a very perfectly flat top and nothing but a lower shadow there for a second. Nevertheless, what's interesting about these two candlesticks right here is where they came to test support. You guys in CT2A will know from the video on the 20 exponential moving average just how important that exponential moving average is. It is used on every time frame by basically every analyst, the 20 or the 21, depending on who you ask. I use the 20 because it's a nice round number, but the 20 EMA is a very, very important moving average. And as you can see, as Bitcoin started this correction here about an hour ago, it came down and tested that moving average. That's where it bounced. And I like to see that because when Bitcoin can test a level of support and bounce off of it, that typically means that the bulls are still in control. The last thing I want to see happen is for Bitcoin to fall below all of these levels of support and come all the way back down to 91.75 in a correction. That's what I don't want to see. But guys, even though Bitcoin just had a tiny little correction up there on the minute chart, the hourly chart is where it really even shows up, the bullish technicals out on the daily chart are overwhelming. I want to point your attention to a few candlestick formations to start with. First of all, we had our three white soldiers over here when Bitcoin bounced off of the 20 EMA again, this time on the daily chart. Similar thing happened over here where Bitcoin pulled back, almost tested the 20 EMA, didn't even have to go all the way down to it. That's bullish. Got support at 91.75, which frankly was not a very strong level of support, but we still bounced very strongly there anyway. And when we bounced, something really cool happened. We made an engulfing bullish candlestick. We had the green candlestick be much, much taller than the red candlestick. It's a bullish engulfing candlestick. That is a very good sign. You know, we saw another one of those happen when Bitcoin pulled back to the 20 EMA down here. And if you see Bitcoin have a correction and then you see a bullish engulfing candlestick at the bottom of that correction, it typically means that the correction is going to build into a new rally that's going to be bigger than the correction. And that's what we saw happen over here. Bitcoin rallied up to around $8,900. Bullish engulfing, boom, blasted the top off, went up to 95. Same thing happened right here. Same thing happened right here. Right here is a very good example. As you can see, this is technically a bullish engulfing candlestick. And it's interesting because on a lot of these bottoms over here at the beginning of this downtrend, we didn't see bullish engulfing candlesticks. As you can see, we saw a lot of actually bearish engulfing candlesticks, like this one right here and this one right here. So you can use those as trend signals. And the fact that we've seen a lot of bullish engulfing candlesticks over the last few weeks is very, very encouraging. I moved my resistance zone. Let's fix that. And guys, we're building up to a prediction on where the market is going, but I just want to show you a few more technicals that we haven't talked about here on the channel. One, we almost saw a bearish cross here on the daily chart. As you can see, the signal line came down to touch the MACD line. We very, very nearly had a bearish cross, but But then, guess what? Bitcoin put in this bullish engulfing candlestick I was just talking about. Boom, MACD's back bullish and diverging bullish once more. Very happy to see that. Of course, the RSI is sitting up at 70, but you expect the RSI to be somewhere between 50 and 80 during an uptrend, so there's nothing really terribly wrong about that. In fact, I'd say because the RSI has been sitting up here around the 70 level so much over the last 2 months, that's actually a bullish sign. And of course, guys, y'all know about the bullish cross out here on the weekly. But how about something that we haven't looked at in a little while? If we look over here on the longs and shorts charts on Bitfinex, we're going to see a major resurgence in those long positions over here on Bitfinex. We're back up to almost 40,000. And guys, this doesn't look like that big of a rally in comparison to what we did over here, but let me zoom out a little bit, and we're actually more or less back up at all-time high before this happened. This is a very large amount of longs, and that's a very good sign. Also considering that the shorts they did rally, but they're also very low. We're around 8,000 shorts, and they're falling. I'm really happy to see the long and short composition right now. And by the way, for those of you guys who have been following open interest, BitMEX still has over $1 billion in open interest. Take that how you will. I think it's a very bullish signal, personally. Where does this leave us, guys? What is Bitcoin going to do from here? Well, I think it is very, very obvious that Bitcoin is looking very bullish right now. In fact, I'd say the argument for the bulls is very well substantiated. We have bullish MACD crosses. We have Bitcoin being above all of its major resistance moving averages, which are now support moving averages. We see Bitcoin getting very close to breaking through the major level of resistance that it is testing, which is $10,000. We're getting close to it. Whenever Bitcoin has a correction, it doesn't seem like that correction develops into anything major, so I am tentatively still leaning in the bullish camp. Every day that passes, I'm getting more and more bullish, by the way. We're very clearly in an uptrend. It's not a question of whether or not we're in an uptrend. It's a question of whether or not we're in a bull market. All the technicals say that we are, but does the market sentiment, does the inflow of valuation into the space, does the actual trader say that we're in a bull market? Because at the end of the day, that's what matters. And as Bitcoin continues its rallies here, as the altcoins keep popping off, by the way, Ethereum, I talked about going into a trade on Ethereum yesterday. A trade on Ethereum would be up nearly 10% if you had have entered the way I told you to yesterday. The altcoins are looking great. The fundamentals are looking good, but there's not a whole lot of development going on, and then there's not a whole lot going on the news front right now. But perhaps after we start the bull market, then some of that will start coming back. That's probably what will happen if Bitcoin gets above 10K. It'll start making mainstream media attention. More or less, everything looks really good. If you were to put like a bullish score, 100% being bullish, 0% being bearish, I'd say we're probably like 80% bullish. There's some things that could be better, don't get me wrong, but in general, Bitcoin looks pretty healthy right now. With that being said, where does this leave our correction? Because even though we're in a bull market, we can obviously expect pretty major corrections. I mean, a 10% move to the downside even wouldn't be totally unexpected. And the reason I say 10% is because if we correct around 10%, a little under 10%, we'd be coming down here to the 20 EMA, and if we corrected just about exactly 10%, we'd be coming down here to the 200 daily simple moving average. There's nothing wrong with Bitcoin doing that. And I want you to understand, Bitcoin has rallied so far now that we've built ourselves a bit of an immunity to pullbacks, because if Bitcoin has a pullback, it's going to test these levels of support. 7 or 8% to the downside, that's probably going to exhaust the bears. We see Bitcoin come down, test those levels of support, get support, bounce, and then we keep going. That's how bull markets are sustained. You get far away from the support. It takes a lot of selling pressure to get down to the support. By the time you're there, the bears are exhausted. The bulls come in. They buy up that cheap Bitcoin. They keep the market moving. That's how bull markets work, and that's what I think we're starting to see happen here, is that cycle of bullish and bearishness and bullish and bearishness, and every time it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back, rather than 2 steps back and 1 step forward. We're starting to see that kind of cycle of bullishness and bearishness build up, and Bitcoin is using that to power its growth up to $10,000. That's what is happening right now. So with that said, I want you to be very aware. There is a possibility and a decent chance, honestly, that Bitcoin pulls back to like as low as $9,000. I would say Bitcoin could pull back all the way down here to the 200 daily simple moving average, and we'd have absolutely nothing to worry about. I want you guys to be aware of that, because it is definitely possible even in the scope of a bull market. For right now, though, I'm going to tell you that you need to keep an eye on the 20 EMA on the hourly chart. As you can see right here, Bitcoin has been testing it and a zone around it quite a lot over the last little while. We saw it tested as support right here. And even though it might seem a little unorthodox, I would tell you to keep an eye on the 4-hourly 20 EMA. Might seem a little weird, but if you look back on the history of this moving average, you're going to see that it actually plays a role in the market. We see Bitcoin get levels of support on it quite a lot. My camera's covering that right here, right over here, right over here. Now, Bitcoin can break in. It's not going into a bear market or anything, but I would encourage you guys to keep an eye on those moving averages. Also, remember to keep an eye on your levels of support. There is a level of resistance and support right here that Bitcoin just recently got above, it would make a whole lot of technical sense for Bitcoin to come back and test it at around $9,575. At the end of the day, guys, Bitcoin is bullish, and everything that Bitcoin does right now is probably going to result in a bounce and a rally above our current highs, but you do need to be aware of corrections, especially if this is the first rally or bull market that you've been in. You are going to see this happen. Bitcoin is going to have breakouts. Bitcoin is going to rally. Bitcoin's going to have days where it goes up 10 or 20%, but at the same time, you're going to see examples where Bitcoin goes down 10 or 20%. I will give you an example. One of the first rallies that I was involved in was Bitcoin rallying up to $5,000 back when $5,000 was the all-time high for Bitcoin. And I remember I was getting into trading right around here, and I really wanted to take advantage of this because I saw that the bull trend was happening, but I had no idea what I was doing. This was nearly 3 years ago. I had no clue what I was doing, and I actually lost money because I invested in Bitcoin Cash. I lost like $4, but that was the best $4 lesson I've ever learned. That's a piece of life advice right there. Make a mistake once, don't make it again. I never made the mistake I did on Bitcoin Cash again, ever. But anyway, Bitcoin rallied up here to around $5,000, and then it put the brakes on, and we fell. Guys, guess what? You know how much we fell? Do you remember? It was 40%. I remember this because I live in Florida, and during this crash, Hurricane Irma was coming through, so I had no internet. I was like just wondering what the market was doing, and I came back almost 10 days later when our power and the internet came back on. I'm like, what in the world just happened? But guys, Bitcoin pulled back 40%. If you just look at this market like this, you might think, okay, well, Bitcoin's very clearly going to be entering a downtrend. I mean, you can see this lower high, lower high, lower high, lower low below this one. But then you zoom out and you realize that Bitcoin was actually in one of the most bullish territories that it has ever known during the rally up to $20,000. So remember, this is why I keep saying this, and I know I'm repeating myself. Please remember, there are going to be rallies, but there are going to be corrections. There's money to be made on both. You got to buy the dips, sell the highs. We're moving into a bull market territory, guys, and it's very important that you shift your mindset because we've been in a downtrend for 8 months. And I promise you, if you don't shift your mindset and you don't turn that dial more bullish and you don't adjust the declination of your compass, you are going to make mistakes because you're expecting Bitcoin to go bearish when it probably won't. I have said over the last couple of weeks that when Bitcoin is having a breakout, when Bitcoin is entering a new uptrend, if you know, you will know. And right now, guys, there's a little bit of a transition from not knowing to knowing. It takes a little while. I'm starting to move into that territory of I know. We're in a bull market. That's where we're going. That's what it seems like anyway. There's a definite possibility of a pullback. I'm not totally there, but I'm starting to feel it. Starting to really feel it. So guys, that's my current take on the market. If you agree, disagree, don't even care, tell me in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear. If you guys enjoyed today's video, make sure to hit that like button. And if you're new here, consider subscribing. We make daily cryptocurrency content. I wouldn't want you to miss any of it. But before we go, I will mention the sale on the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy, guys, because this sale is running through Friday, which means you have about 48 hours to get into the academy if you would like to. And guys, I'm not going to lie to you. There probably will be one more sale before the price of CT2A increases from $200 to $300. But I encourage you guys to get in now because starting next week, I'm going to be beginning the revamp on this course. I have a bunch of sound panels for this office coming in. I'm about to buy another microphone for our camera that we can use so that we can record that whiteboard over there while we're doing instructions in this course. There's a huge revision coming, and if you join now, you're going to get access to all of our amazing content as it stands and that entire update for the same price. There's one payment. There are no payments after the initial one. There are no hidden fees. It's a flat $159 if you use that coupon code. Guys, I am not kidding when I say you can Google it and check me on this. There are courses that go for $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 with less than 10 hours of content like CT2A has. It's actually a little absurd. I'll let you in on a secret on internet marketing. The higher the price is, the higher the perceived value is, and then people think, oh, well, if they're charging $3,000, it must be worth $3,000. Here's $3,000. And then people make a lot of money doing that. That's not what I'm trying to do, guys. I want to be able to continue supporting the channel and do all the charitable things that I want to do this year, but I'm not trying to bankrupt you here. This is very, very undervalued, but when I put 200 or 300 hours into revamping it, I'm going to have to raise the price. So guys, go ahead and join before that happens. If you would like, you can talk to some of our students in the Discord server linked down below. You can talk to me personally, shoot me an email at cryptojab@gmail.com, or you can message me in the DMs over on Discord. Remember, guys, there's a 14-day money-back refund guarantee, and yes, we do take Bitcoin payments. So anyway, guys, I have a very busy day lined up, so I'm going to go ahead and get ready for that. But before I go, I do first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.